call the meeting to order at this time. And I think we've got a few department heads here. You've got some POs or something. Let's get this out of the way first. You're just here, huh?
I'm just here.
Okay, Wes, you have something?
I was with her.
So you got that taken care of.
Yep.
Do you have any other department heads?
Do you want to go there just move on?
John, do you have something for us before we get into other discussion? Do you have anything you have to do?
Some leaf traffic tickets.
Come out of United Way, this shit. Okay. You're doing that, Ray?
No, I'm just here on behalf of the
Right.
Sheriff's Reserve.
Okay, come forward, yeah, sorry. John.
Pardon? No, it's on the table. That was one of the things that came up. Seems there's some issues that the commission has with our equipment. I haven't been called personally, but I've been called by other members that said they've heard through the grapevine that the commission now has issues with our equipment and our funds and the disbursement of our funds.
I don't know about issues so much as questions.
Okay, well, I'm here to try to answer them.
Okay. I have asked for, and have not found a copy of the articles of incorporation, bylaws, et cetera.
Okay.
Any minutes that you have?
Have you talked to our CPA about
Yeah,
that?
yes, I did. But I just talked to her this morning,
Oh,
and she
okay.
told me that she'd get them, she'd get them for me.
Okay,
That
'cause
is-
earlier this year, if you remember, you guys ordered a audit of our organization, and we hired a CPA and gave her all of our records, so anything that, we asked, she should have. We've never tried to hide anything. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Everything we do is for charity and done through charity, so, I don't know what the issues are, but,
Well,
I don't know, did the commission have any issues?
No,
we got a commissioner.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with the commission.
okay. Well, that's, like I said, that's just the grapevine talk that's going on. I just wanted to come up here and try to answer any questions that you guys might have concerning our organization, and, I know I came up last week and, asked about the title, and, you guys asked why we just chose to disband, and some of it was personal, and other things we're just not prepared to, it's more or less it's personal, so, we don't feel the need to disclose it to the public, because all it's gonna do is cause problems for other people, and we're not.
I think everybody respects that. There's some concern though about just making sure that, from the county's point of view, everything's not.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been talking to John, and we, we have to follow the IRS guidelines as far as, nonprofit organizations, and when we decided to disband, we have to go by their guidelines to dispose of all of our assets, and that's what we've done. It's like the trailer, I came up here to just get that straightened out, the title, and why you guys had the title.
Did you find, well, I'm not sure we did, but
No.
I heard we didn't have.
No, but we did find out that it never was put in the sheriff's department's name. It still is in the sheriff's reserve's name, and it's just a matter of you going to speak and file for lost title. So that's no longer an issue as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, that's what we had.
But like I said, I just came up here to try to answer any questions you might have that I can,
Well, what is the plan?
The plan,
Yeah.
we have voted to disband as of the first of the year. I would say that all proceeds from the equipment sales and any funds that we had in our account, you know, something I didn't say it here last week, you know, I've been involved in it 17 years as the sheriff of the reserve. Every year, we do fundraisers to raise money to support all the things that we do to give back to the community. Last year, I took a loan out on one of my vehicles to support the things we did. You know, most people don't know that, but that's just how committed I am to that organization.
I don't think anybody questions your commitment to it. From what I understand, about 75 or 80% of the hours worked at Bartlett by the reserves was you.
Yeah, well, and I did it because I had more free time than everybody else. The other ones, you know, had family, you know, all my kids are grown, so, you know, I had a lot more opportunity to work, and I was glad I could do that. So, but it just seems like, to me and some of the others, that when we had no money, nobody cared anything about us. But now that we earned money from Bartlett, everybody's concerned about the money. So that's why we're giving it all away. And, you know, all the non-profits that we can get, so we can manage that issue. And we're doing it within the guidelines of the IRS. So, you know, it just, you know, it hurts as an organization, all the members that what we've been going through the last couple of months. So it would be good for us to just disband and not go into it. But if anybody has any questions, you know, I'm not going to badmouth anybody or talk bad about anybody, but you know, I'll try to answer any questions I can.
I appreciate what you're doing.
And I know Tom's been here a long time. He's been, you know, a big supporter of ours. Mike, I know you're a lifetime resident, and you know, you're kind of new to it, but you know, I know that you know a little bit about the
You want to trade
organization.
me out, maybe you wanted it before, you still want it. You won this job before, you want it back now?
Yeah, no. My wife told me I was crazy for even thinking about it, so now I know what she's talking about.
We appreciate you.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you, Red.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman,
I have a lot to we'll read real quickly here. Can you read?
and I see no errors.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move.
Yeah,
As written.
I will second it. No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nobody else can oppose. So, minutes approved following for Wednesday, November 21st. Okay, where do we want to start? Let's see, assume that there's some solid waste concerns here. Who, Trey, were you guys here first, do you have?
I'm just here to listen and to,
Okay, and if you don't leave too early, if we get done, I want to visit briefly with you about the county summit. And
Okay.
I've talked to Jim Potts, you know, to get a committee together.
Okay.
So I've got that.
and that's not going to be December 6th, is that correct? Okay.
No, we want to make sure, we got a lot of coordinating to do
Yeah.
to make sure that we get, you know, accommodate as many people's schedule as we can. So that's a concern to me. Because if we're going to, you know, the legislators there, we're going to have to work around their schedule and stuff too. So, you know, I understand there's going to be probably some, you know, some council people fair representation, I think that's the whole key to that, so, okay. So if I don't, if you have to leave before that, I'll call you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, Kirk, you here to
I'm just observing today.
Okay, sir, you're next, I think you may be the first one. You're
I'm just here to listen.
Okay, have you passed out the sign up?
I don't know if everybody signed it.
Just make sure you sign in so we have record of who all's here, and not trying to grab your account information or anything like that, we just want to know who all's here, so. Derek, I assume you have something?
Well, I should, yeah,
Yeah.
I have to apologize about not giving you, on the last time we were here, I gave you a sheet of paper that was, that had some numbers on it, and they weren't completely correct. The county is receiving more funds than what I really thought, according to the Kansas Department of Revenue. And in fairness, or sadly, I can't give you a copy because I only have one, so I have to have something to read off of here. But just percentage-wise, in 2011, there was $1.875 million collected in sales tax in the Atchison County. If you'd like to verify that or deny that, you can sure do that.
I've got those figures here, so I know.
Would you agree that that's
You're all
correct?
$700.
Okay. And you're right, for the $715.31.
Exactly, all right.
The city of Atchison received $961,119. Is that correct?
That is what I have, yes.
I'm gonna leave the rest of the municipalities out of it, just for the simple reason they're not immaterial, but it's a small amount. Because it amounts from 50.82% that the city has received from the state compared to 44.50% that the county received. We would agree with that through the state of Kansas as far as sales tax income.
Well, my figures show 51.
Okay, we'll go with that till it's 50.82%. We'll round up. With that, the city, out of their $961,000, the way I see it, they paid you $406,000.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay.
That jives with last year's budget, because I checked that all this weekend to make sure
Okay.
that.
Which in last year's budget, or only budget I have to go by is your current up-to-date 2013 budget. The one thing I want to make clear, this isn't personal, okay? This isn't personal. I'm just trying to bring forth what's happening and what's going to happen, or what could happen. Okay, so a couple hypotheticals. With that, they send you $406,000. With those two numbers combined, let me go back to your 2013 budget amount was 1.3, round numbers, between joint communications and trash, solid waste. Round numbers. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
In fact, I've got a sheet here, I can give you 10-year running what it actually costs.
I'm talking about as current as we have information. Because really, what happened in the past, I'm really not concerned about.
Well, but it does show, it's a little reflective, Gary.
Well, but please, allow me to finish.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, so with that said, if you did simple math, let's just round numbers, we're $30,000 to $50,000 short of collecting the amount of income via what's come available to you through the state, straight from the state, on the sales tax to the county, and what the city has given you, and then filter in what the rest of the other other Effingham, Huron, Lancaster, and Muskota has given you. Let's just use $50,000 as just an easy number. Let's set that number to the side. With that said, Yeah, I think all of us will turn our phones off.
Yeah, that reminded me.
Yeah, me too. With that said, we're going to, or we have already put a surcharge of a solid waste assessment on everyone's taxes to the tune of $780,000 for a $50,000 shortfall. We'll take that number and set that aside also. So, with that going in there, my education, I'm getting more and more educated. Not that I want your job. But the tax as it was voted on and approved by the voters was 1 cent sales tax for solid waste and communications. Although, according to state statutes, and it's been it's been approved by the state attorney general, really, state statute, it's a general use tax. It trumps anything that's on the ballot. Would you agree with that?
That's kind of my understanding.
Okay, so really, let's just cut the brass tacks here. It's just a 1 cent sales tax for the county and the city. Okay, we have a handshaken agreement with the cities, and I'm speaking as the county, that they're going to honor their contribution to the balance of what the county doesn't receive in sales tax. You don't have anything in writing. It's just a handshake. It's just a verbal. And that's okay. As far as I'm concerned, if I shake hands with you and you three up there, that's as binding as you can get. So I think that is right on. With that said, there's two complications, or two hypotheticals that could possibly happen here. First being, they're going to have 3 city commissioners come up for election, possibly in the city. All this gets out here that they're not only in the county but the city, which I might add, the city generates 84% of all the sales tax collected in the city, in the county of Atchison. They say, you know what, we're paying way too much with our assessment and with that contributing amount that comes in. Okay? So they put 3 new people in there that have an agenda, and they say, just tell the county we can send them $406,000. That could happen. Let's set that to the side.
It happened next year.
It could happen in April.
No, it could happen starting January.
It could, well, yes, it could, but I can't see these guys doing that.
No, and I trust it, because that's why I approached the Gary County just for information and trade will confirm this. And I specifically asked at the county city meeting, are you willing, because the 2 prior meetings, I got no further commitment in helping us to start up the ambulance. That was my basic concern at that time, was to get a little more sales tax money to help us get the ambulance up and going, okay? But we get no results, so I mean, and I respect, because it's legal, it's right, so, but they committed, and I take the word. These other cities, I have no, I don't know where we're gonna be.
Yeah, you're right. With that said, and the absolute possibility of something crazy like that happening, the other side of the coin is, there'll be approximately, and Chase is working with a number of the businesses downtown, speaking as a business owner myself, there's a possibility of $350,000 to $400,000 a year being drawn out of our business community, whether it be the Bush Mize Company, Amazing Deals, Rox's Images, Van Dyke Grocery, Porter's, the hardware store, Atchison Auto Parts. There's a portion of this that's going to be sucked out of our community over and above the already dedicated amount that we're going to be assessed. Okay? I'm afraid, as everyone else should, and it isn't because the United Way Terry Notsky walked in, but I stated the other day, when she's out trying to solicit funds, when there's local charitable organizations that's gonna come around, whether it be the Amelia Earhart Festival, or yearly drive with the YMCA, or we need something done out in the county, whoever it may be. See, these funds are already gonna be committed from the businesses also, because we have to pay the solid waste, the solid waste fee that is unbudgeted and really, I won't say it's unnecessary, because sadly, we've already committed to it. We've already budgeted before we've really done the background work of what's gonna happen here. So, I think this can be very disruptive, not that we have a harmonious community at all, but it works pretty good. We have some very giving businesses around here, but as you know, as the last 5 years have been, these businesses can't take those kind of hits. They just can't take it. We're talking about over the $780,000 that's gonna be assessed.
Derek,
It's going to be half of that is gonna come from the businesses themselves.
would you be charitable and let Terry make her presentations and the commissioners right now?
I got less than 5 minutes.
Oh,
She's not showing.
Well, really, that's all I got to say, but I sadly, I have to leave at 3:30 for basketball practice, one of my charities. But go ahead and let her talk.
And
That's fine.
everything you said, I'm up to snuff with it, because the scenario, that's what concerns me more about this scenario, unless something is not resolved.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Last time I was here, you were here. Oh, I'm not showing my video. I got 3 minutes. I am the director for United Way, Terry Nopke, and this time of year, I go all over town soliciting funds. Hopefully, all this won't have a lot to do with my funds. As you know, the city and the county and I kind of got together and did a breakfast this year. So we made close to $14,000 from that, but I'll have to wait and see. I think a lot of the places that gave to that are not giving because they gave already, so we have to watch. I know some of them are not. Some of them think, we were hoping that would be on top of what we get already, but we will get some, because some of those businesses were from out of our area, not places I can go to, so we'll have to see. But when these agencies come for help from the city, they no longer get help, so we're even more important than we used to be. You guys pass these out, even if you've already, just gives a lot of information, please. There's 15 local agencies that our United Way supports. They're all on here, and probably half of these we wouldn't have in Atchison if it wasn't for the money they get from us. Most of you know how important Red Cross is. We wouldn't have a Red Cross if it wasn't for the money they get from United Way, so they get close to half their money from us, so it's really important. I want to stress to the employees that are like hourly employees that you guys have, just giving $1 a week. You guys, the city and the county are both set up for payroll deduction, so county employees, city employees, if they just gave $1 a week, the other side of it shows what $2 a week does, so I just go around and stress, if everybody could just give a little bit at the end of the year, we make a huge difference. So, a lot of you have heard this bill. I'd like to get with the county and maybe do something for the employees and just really stress this year, 50 cents, $1 out of your paycheck, because there's so many people that we need to support. We have a lot of people that are underemployed or undereducated, and Derek, probably they're overtaxed, and so hopefully, I'm just asking for everybody to give a little something. And one more thing before I finish, these have pledge cards on the bottom of it, and if you wanted to send that to me, I would be happy to bill you quarterly, monthly, even if you don't have payroll deduction. I have quite a few people that do that anymore, so I will work with any of you, however you want to do that. So that's all I've got, guys. We have a video that shows where your money goes. It all stays right here in Atchison, and we always need more. My number's on here, and like I said, I'd be happy to bill you. Whatever you can do would be wonderful. So thanks for your time, sorry to interrupt, guys, thank you for getting me in there, I
We're
appreciate
sorry
it.
we had.
Hey, Terry.
No big deal.
What's your target goal this year?
195,000. And currently I'm at, about 104,000, so we've got a
And
long
that's
way
for
to go.
12 or 13? Is that for what year? 12 or 13? This year or next year?
13.
13.
Yeah, most of the payroll reductions and things start in January, so that's our goal. Thank you, guys, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
In closing,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, here she is, she's only halfway to her goal. We still have other charitable organizations that's not even on this list. I'm really concerned because she's right. There's a lot of those people that depend on the businesses to support that. And, again, I don't know if there's, and I know Chase is working on it, because I've heard people say, hey, I talked to Chase. I talked to Chase this morning, briefly. We're gonna set up an appointment. But again, I think we have the cart way before the horse here. I'm not even gonna say what my old, or a football coach told me as far as 5 Ps, but anyway, I think you know where I'm going with this. We really, it comes down to the pike. Really, the city of Atchison is really contributing more as far as their sales tax dollars. They're giving 405%, or $405,000, where in theory, if you take out the $780,000 that the county already receives it, and that was 2011, or that's what you're gonna get on that, plus what you're gonna receive from the state of Kansas, you're only giving about $125,000 out of general fund. If you do the math, it's not too far off from that. Really, the county is using more of the sales tax dollars that's coming to you directly from the state for general fund than what's going towards the solid waste and communications.
The way the budget was, and that's one reason I did not support the budget, because of the way the budget was changed this year.
Well, then I can't believe Tom Wagner supported it then. It's simple math. It's absolutely simple math. Might be, I don't know what you have to do, but the scenario could get very, very bad. Very bad.
Well, I think it's something that definitely is gonna be a challenge for this commission to address. There's no-
Well, but here's one more thing, Mike. You're gonna collect it at least 3 years before anything can even be done, and you can rescind. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Not this, this can be changed.
Oh, no. You're gonna over-collect on a solid waste as it's written now for 2012, which is this year. 2013, because it doesn't even hit the floor. You've already told me it's not gonna hit the floor in Topeka to 2014.
Well, I didn't, Jeff did,
Well, okay, the commission stated that. So with that said, you're gonna collect over $240,000, the way the assessments go right now, or 2.4 million. 2.4 million.
But you're assuming that this fee will go on.
What have yes. Yes,
Have we
I
not been
am.
told?
And
It's a yearly deal.
Well, Mike, why in the world would we do it in the first place?
Well, that's good, I can only state my position. The concept, you guys have to understand, the concept is not totally bad.
As a property owner and a business owner, which I have disagreements with government, I love it that we're collecting sales tax to pay for our solid waste. We spread the debt. I don't want it on my property tax. Do you want it on your property tax? I don't want it on my property tax, even though it's my trash.
A lot of counties do.
I don't care what a lot of counties do. Matter of fact, every county in the state of Kansas does it but us.
The option, there was an option that.
But if you put it out to the vote by the public, as as we've already done the first time, as you give Mr. Porter a flyer here of the ballot. It says it's 1 cent for that. As statute is, that's worthless. It's a general use tax. They can do with it whatever they want.
You're true, that's true.
I gotta go to practice. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Larry, I'll send my petition to you later.
I got lots of questions, Mike.
Okay. Well, and I may not be able to answer them all, I don't want to speak without Jeff, you know. Yeah, go ahead.
This is outside what we need Jeff to hold our hand with. I'm trying to figure out how we got here today. So I'm gonna ask this one simple question. Prefacing it by, the reason I'm asking this is Jeff inquired that perhaps I might be interested in serving on a solid waste committee. Just as the chairman, not on your behest or whatever, which got me to thinking, is there a solid waste committee now? And who sits on it? And who sat on it as you passed this resolution?
Not that I know of, during the last meeting's discussion, it was brought, maybe it's something that we need to form a committee to look at. We can committee ourselves to death.
I think these are two different things. There is a solid waste committee that oversees the solid waste plan for the county, and I don't know who's on that. Do you know, Matt? Do you know how many people are on the committee?
There's approximately 6 or 8.
And do you know how often they meet?
Once a year. Are they all county employees for the most part?
Not all of them, some of them are.
When were they appointed, or what are their terms, or can you tell me anything about it? I'm going somewhere with this.
That's fine, that's good.
I'm just, because what I'm saying is, back to the Paul Newman movie, what we have here is failure to communicate, okay? Jeff asked that question, initially it's kind of like flattering, and then you go crap, another committee, and then you evolve it and say, well, what's a solid waste committee, what might that look like? So I got on, Google it or whatever, what's that look like in Kansas? There's a statute that says the county commission shall, and the shall is one of these big legal words, right? Just like when God talked to us with those 10 things a long time ago. You shall be a solid waste committee. Okay? It goes on to say, on that committee, there shall be representatives of cities of the first class that reside in the county. The mayor, Dr. Rivas, is obliged to appoint that person. You're required to have representatives from cities of the second class, cities of the third class, members from the unincorporated areas of the county, and reading on, general public, citizen organizations, private industry, private solid waste management industry operating in the county, recycling coordinator, et cetera, et cetera. This body is assembled to develop the solid waste management plan. That plan, where are we at now? Where are we going to try to reduce solid waste in a safe and cost-effective manner? Some of those duties that the solid waste plan committee are charged with, in addition to the plan, is to identify sources of funding for said plan, in addition to communicating the plan and what to the general public. This statute isn't something that just came up yesterday. I'm not a lawyer. I gave Pat a copy just so he can review it with you later. But to the best of my knowledge, the Solid Waste Management Committee, the one we shall have, has been around since 1972. It's a 40-year-old thing we're supposed to have. It has been amended through that time. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't ferret out exactly where it stops and starts. But this document, as it sits in my possession today, to the best of my understanding, in its amended form, exists going back to 2004. So So my question for everybody in this room is, why don't we have that committee? If we had that committee, we would have representatives from Bushmills, we would have representatives from the city of Atchison, we would have retailers, we would have community members from unincorporated areas of the county that would share and develop ideas, so we would implement this plan a whole heck of a lot better than it had. You as commissioners can do anything you want after we recommend, but it's been my experience as chair of the planning commission, in 6 years, I can only think of maybe once, that after the commission made a recommendation to the city council, that they kicked it back for another opinion. Because it goes through that multi-layer process of vetting, is this what's good for our community? So, take it back 10 days ago, whenever I first asked Jeff for the spreadsheet, to try to ascertain what was going on with the numbers. I mean, did we really, have everything together? And this is in no way to impugn the hard work that Chase has done. It's in no way to impugn Tom and Mike for working hard, trying to find funding solutions for unfunded mandates from the state and whatever else. I get that. But there's been a level of trust broken from that 1993 sales tax. Mary will remind us that it passed by what, Mary? 63%? Because you're good about that, reminding us every time.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming, I think it was 63% too. And not you, but this body told the people, this is what we're going to spend it on. And now, it's been misappropriated over the years. Well, Derek tells me legally it hasn't been misappropriated, but just on the basis of Derek's handshake. I never thought about a ballot being a handshake, but I guess we'll call that. It's violated. You throw out numbers, maybe $1 million paid for this jail and whatever else, and we're not saying that Mike and Tom were going to the gentleman's club or anything, any way, shape, or form that in any preceding commissions. You're doing the best you can, but is this new solid waste assessment the best we can do? I've spent hours poring over the spreadsheets. I will assert, without airing my dirty laundry in front of everybody here, that we have under-assessed in the tens of thousands, and we have, and I'm sure Bushmills will point out, over-assessed in the tens of thousands. Chase shared with Mary in the paper on Saturday, and I don't know where through this process or whatever, well, you've only had 80 complaints. There's not a problem, it's just a little 1% deal. It's a lot bigger deal than that, Mike. And if we do a Band-Aid here and try to, on the fly, try to juggle some fees and make something work and put this in this, without a committee of people actually getting together, a legal committee, the one you shall have, that you don't, apparently.
I wouldn't agree with that. We do have a committee. I don't agree with that. We do have a solid waste committee. I know I sat through a hearing, public hearing, but nobody showed up.
Understood, but I've identified, do we have any industry members? I guess I'll ask that.
There are people, that represent the cities, county, and I'm sure there are some business people on there, but I'll look and I'll get it.
That's what I'm asking, where were they in this process? Because I'm saying that committee with the solid waste plan was to advise you specifically to the funding of it. I mean, it's one of the things in there, the shalls. And so, that's all I got. I just don't want us to Band-Aid this, and kick it down the road, just like we're trying to Band-Aid the sales tax, and we're breaking trusts along the way. And I trust you guys as men, but as the process, I've got a big distrust for it.
I think you bring up probably a good point, because it's something, I haven't slept real good knowing this amount fee, because, I didn't oppose the amount. The concept I can embrace, knowing that this was going to be of this magnitude. In some cases, it's worse than I really had even kind of anticipated per se. But the same token, I don't want anybody to think that this thing is etched in stone, that through the next year, we're gonna work through a process here, trying to make as fair adjustments, because we're working off of some estimates, which is how the county that proposed this before have arrived at these fees. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I think your idea is to make sure that we have a committee as we go forward here this next year to reassess this and see if we can't find a better way to address this and get it, maybe what I'd say, a little more, and you're never gonna have everything equal, okay?
Well, no, but it's not equal, but see, again, we're going on the assumption because we didn't put it to the test
Right.
of a committee.
Right.
You were, the solid waste study that was commissioned by the city of Atchison was based on the assumption that we wanted a solid waste fee.
Well, I don't know what that attention, because that was done right prior to when I came.
Understood.
And I'm not trying to get out, I mean, I'll have to admit, I was very reluctant to even look at it. I'm not great at looking at studies, because, sometimes you can make figure, studies look. I happened to know these two, or met these two guys, and it was a fairly good study. I mean, there's.
Oh, no, I've read the whole study. I don't find any fault with it, but sometimes studies go in the direction of who's paying for it and where they say they want to go.
Yeah, I was gonna repeat Mike's one point on just that. Obviously, we paid for it.
Yes, sir.
A solid waste fee never came out of my breath as we talked about it. I did mention a tipping fee, because to me that was a user fee that got to the heart of the matter, and that, what I asked them to look at, but a solid waste fee was not something we tipped our hand to and said, hey, here's my watch, tell me what time it is, oh, by the way, it's solid waste fee time. That was not a direction that we gave them.
I apologize for that assumption.
Yeah, well, because they did address in that study, here, we have copies of that, I mean, all the different possible funding methods. I mean, they didn't address property tax, I don't think I remember them saying property tax, because there are some counties that use property tax for their solid waste, so.
But what I'm saying is, as a committee, then instead of just being the prejudices or the vision of commission, which that's what you're charged with doing, but the committee broadens the base or whatever. Mike Bodenhausen doesn't want a tipping fee. I don't know if that's to be the case or not, but, so.
I'm open to anything. Yeah.
But I'm saying, we can do it with property tax, we can do it with sales tax, we can do it with the tipping fee, we can do it with the special assessment, and we can commingle all of the above, depending on what's gonna work out best for it, which gets to another, when we're talking about, and I brought this point up again last week, we're talking about this, I don't think the point sunk in with a lot of people. There's 35% of the waste that goes to the transfer station right now that is unaccounted for. Go ahead.
Our transfer station numbers that we have up to October indicate that there's 15% of the waste that comes in, is brought in from outside the county. And the number that you're referring to, we didn't have the information like we do now at the time of the study. At the time of the study, they gave a reasonable but arbitrary number on putting the 31 being residential, 31% residential, 32. It breaks into nice thirds. In reality, the commercial and the residential do contribute closer to 40%, and the taken by the not private haulers, but private citizens taking their trash and dumping, and that number is actually quite low. It's almost half of what the study got.
15% comes in out of the county?
That's not private hauler, that's not city,
But we're giving it away to people coming from out of the county to dump?
No, it's not outside the county, it's people within the county that do not use any private hauler, do not use, that number is actually a lot lower than the study would indicate, or indicated. And the other thing, the C&D that does contribute to our overall tonnage that is processed through the transfer station, in no way, shape, or form is factored into the solid waste fee because we just bury it. We have our own.
Right, but the study identifies it as costing 8% of the $900,000.
for burial, but that's, again.
But again, but it's 8% of the total, that only a very small fraction of 8% of $900,000, you're only collecting $7,000.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is, we're missing trash that we're getting assessed for some people. You know, last year I went to the metal pile once, and I think I, done something once. And I'm not quibbling about my now $122, it's how it's affecting my community members, and that's what I'm trying to get at. I tried to do some comparative analysis to try to get my head around, what these numbers look like, what they mean, like construction, I'm thinking this number, wow, construction's gotta be a lot of what goes in there. An average 2,000 square foot house contributes 8,000 pounds in waste, okay? We're missing that. I try to add up all the contractors in town, with the exception of, the bridge contractor, because that's anomalous. $6,000 is attributed to contractors, their assessment, okay? Compare that to, and again, I was a contractor for 15 years, we throw a lot of stuff away. Convenience stores, $12,000. The numbers out there is just it's like, wow, are we capturing that? The residential numbers, and unless I've missed something, the residential numbers, that's really where I'm getting in the tens of thousands in units that weren't assessed as per your resolution, and if at all. And I'll go on those numbers later, I don't want to get everybody in the weeds. And so we're basing this number on stuff we, kind of did or didn't collect, or, are we going to collect them? And then we're adjusting down the businesses or whatever, and then everybody's load proportionally should change. And understood, close but fair, but, the fair numbers changes when we're radically going to redo it, again, on the fly, without input and trying to, see what works best for the community. I'll shut up.
That's a good point, appreciate it, but I think the committee idea is sure works, as we transition. Jack, go ahead.
I guess I've been up here 5 times, I think it's 4, but I've been here every time we've discussed this. And some of you are newbies, some of you have been here, and some of you have been here the whole time. A lot of concern in the community. The thing is, I think we've said almost everything that probably needs to be said in many different ways. I was kind of the idea today that you guys were going to talk about in an open public meeting about whether you should adjust what the assessment is, whether you want to rescind it, or you want to leave it alone. And I thought that's what I was going to hear the governing body talk about today. Is there going to be a day we talk about that? Because I want to hear that conversation. Today is Cyber Monday, we're shipping stuff out, I'm a busy guy today, so,
Well, I think in all fairness, if that's something that people want to definitely hear, I'm not afraid that with Jeff not being here, I don't think it's fair to make that kind of...
I think you're 100% right on, all 3 of you should be here.
Yeah, I want all 3, so everybody can go on record as to what their position and why. Otherwise it's distorted.
So is there going to be a day you pick for that?
Well, I'd say it'd be the next budget session, I won't be here, but I'd say our budget is set, we gotta do.
So you're not going to discuss it now?
But I guess my question is, your budget's set, okay, but Mr. Calkins told me that you're gonna have something on the order of a $40,000 surplus based on your projections next year for solid waste.
2013, based on the numbers that they have for solid waste, what they're receiving from the city and what they're receiving from the city, what they're receiving from the other cities that they pay at the same proportional rate that the city of Ashland does, and what they get directly from the state, and based on the numbers they have in their budget for solid waste and joint communications, you guys are looking at a $70,000 surplus in 2013 on those numbers.
Did you factor the rebate or the 10%?
I didn't do anything with the solid waste fee. I just looked at strictly what the sales tax would generate, and what solid waste and what joint communications is costing.
You lost me a little bit.
Okay. This is the world. This is the world without the solid waste fee. Let's say the solid waste fee never happened, Commissioner. Let me bring up my.
I guess well, Trey's figuring out, we're budgeting for something that we don't really have a plan,
So-
what we're doing with it.
Commissioner, in 2013, in your budget, you have $918,650 budgeted for solid waste. You have, for joint communications, you have $421,414, which comes together as $1,340,000 in expenditures, 2013. And then in your budget, you have $1,390,000 in sales tax collected from everything.
And that's over, that's,
So, excuse me, that's 49, the sales tax, in a perfect world, if the solid waste fee hadn't happened, if we just continued with the status quo, it would be $49,000 surplus that would be generated between those two funds.
and Chase will tell you, and my fellow commissioners, that I told them when that figure was put in, we've never received that much. Even when the other cities who are now withholding were giving their amounts, we've never received that much money. So we're assuming that everybody, that either inflation or retail sales are gonna be skyrocketing or whatever. I'm projecting that that's $100,000 too high. Now, I may be wrong.
You know, my numbers based on the trend, it looks like right at $1,390,000, just based on the trend.
Right now, we're projected about 1.32.
Current trend as of when I did it today, yeah, you're right, 1.23.
1.32.
32, yeah.
Mike, back to what I'm saying, are we gonna discuss making an adjustment to the 2012 fee? Are we gonna have an open discussion about either rescinding it, lowering it, doing away with it for 2012?
I don't see how we can do it.
Or are we gonna make a decision, we're just gonna go ahead the way it is? But I'd just like to hear a discussion among you guys, the commissioners, in a public meeting. I think it's fair, the citizens deserve
I have no
it.
problem, and we can put that on when Jeff comes back. I have no problem.
Will Jeff be back this week, or if it's, Tom
I
is
think
saying...
he's going Wednesday too. In fact, Tom's having surgery this week, and I can't conduct a meeting myself, and I actually have a meeting, so we may not actually meet Wednesday, but we would probably consider doing it if you want something on that. But we have to be looking at alternatives, because it's like Gary said, the budget is set, how much adjustments, we're gonna have to go internally to look into our 2013 budget and see if there's things there that we can adjust, to make adjustments on some of the fees. There's no, I think that's the only option that we've got. I mean, you tell me, you've been on the city, if you rescinded something that you budgeted for $700,000, what would you do?
Where did those monies go?
Where
did the money go?
The ones that,
Where's the $800,000 going?
the what 800,000?
Well, 780,000 or whichever nebulous number the solid waste fee is, where is that money budgeted at if the sales tax money is going through solid waste?
Well, but see,
And
I don't wanna get into, there, but I didn't agree with, I wanna say, when the budget was passed, I missed the meeting, but they consolidated way more things than I thought. So everything.
so maybe were you already using the sales tax for something else?
The
for
sales
the next
tax
county
money
year?
it's in the general fund per se, and so you can say however you want,
Okay, so you spend it on something else.
Mike,
Yeah.
and I think this may be helpful to folks, because I think this is a lot of questions. Ambulance went up $450,000, roughly.
Yeah, $450.
$450,000 ambulance went up, so that goes a lot part to where this money's going. You guys have to do a 2% COLA for your employees, which I don't know what that number is. I know for us, 1%, $60,000. You guys have more employees, so I'm saying that's probably $200,000 for a COLA.
I haven't put that in, we were lucky our benefits.
$1.5 million, so it's about $200,000, so I'm pretty close on what that COLA amount would be. So between those two, that's $650,000 between those, just the COLA and between the ambulance where things went up. Is that, am I right there?
Yes.
Okay,
So that goes a long way to where that $780,000.
Right, just to be clear, the sales tax that was passed in 1993 by an overwhelming majority of the voters in Atchison County, Kansas, that was represented as a sales tax to be collected for solid waste and joint communications is not going to be used for that in the coming budget year.
That's only, you can say that if you want to. Yes, it's a little ambiguous, but when it's in a general fund, all of them are in the general fund.
Right, but,
It's revenue.
well, but it's revenue, you're saying there's
Ray, you
800,000.
understand, I didn't agree with, because that was to be used for specific things, I would have liked to kept that separate.
Yeah.
Right, but you're saying you're collecting $780,000, it's going to solid waste, okay? Now you need another 120,000 or whatever to Band-Aid, it's just round numbers, I'm not giving you to commit to that. That 120 is coming out of that other sales tax money, the balance of that is going somewhere else in the general fund. That's what you're telling me.
But Mike, they also had an ad valorem increase of 16%, which hasn't even been figured into that, which is, my understanding was to go to pay for the ambulance. So something's getting done twice. Because there was an increase in ad valorem taxes.
Bill, you're assuming that increase in ad valorem was to pay for the.
I don't know what it's for.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there was an increase there
Yeah.
of about $800,000 there, plus you have an $800,000 in solid waste fee. And still $1.6 million more than you had last year. So there's a lot more money coming into the county, in spite of where it comes from or what it's used for. It's taking it away from everybody out here. Why do you think we're here?
We understand that.
And especially when everybody's gonna be appealing this process, you're not gonna be collecting the funds that you think you're gonna be collecting, so I don't quite understand that process. Our bill at Blish Mize Company, I'm Jonathan Mize with Blish Mize, by the way, county assessment was $31,588. And first of all, I guess I'm not trying to repeat the dead horse we've already talked about. I'm really shocked and disappointed at the whole process here. Certainly understand that you have the authority to go ahead and pass this solid waste fee as you did back in June. It might have been in the paper, might have been on the radio. Did we hear about it? I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about it until I actually got the bill. And then I go to the county website to find the letter that was written here on the 15th that explains the process, which I still need to know the answer of how you calculated the $61. How did that number come to be? We don't have that answer today. We've talked about that with you. We still don't have that answer.
I can give you the answer, but it's.
Well, we have not heard that from the county. Also, it says in the letter here that actual costs were reflected or whatever, came up with the local trash haulers based on actual disposals. Our trash hauler, another trash hauler, has not been contacted. So I don't know how you came up with those numbers. So anyway, get right to it here, it's almost a $25,000 variance. Still only paying, with Blish Mize, with that variance of $6,000 is what we're supposed to pay, still is too much. I don't understand the process. I've talked to a lot of things, I think, as Mike pointed out, there's a lot of people that haven't been assessed enough. There's some that haven't been assessed at all. And to where we don't have the chairman here today, I'm shocked. I was trying to figure out what this meeting was, like Jack. I thought there was going to be some decisions made today, and it's kind of like we're all sitting around here, but you're going to get a lot of appeals. You're not going to get the income that you think you're going to get. So, I'd like to know a little bit more about the appeal process. As we submit an appeal, when do we get notified, and when do we pay our taxes? Because we're not going to pay the amount that you're thinking we're going to pay. So, need to know that process. Need to get a little bit more communication. I'm just very disappointed the way this whole come out, and not to have other people on this committee, if we have a committee, local business people, townships, whoever. It seems like you have one, but you didn't do a lot of study. I don't think you did a lot of time to assess everything, to see what's going on here. So that's all I'm saying, and I just don't understand the direction of where you guys are taking this.
One more thing, Mike, I'm gonna pull up a little more, I won't say anything else.
We still live in America.
Look, I discovered by making some calls to a trash hauler that I can reduce my solid waste by 85%, just by making a phone call, which would reduce the cost of the landfill by my little portion next year. I suspect that if we all went into action right here, we could probably find enough recyclability of our trash to lower the cost of landfill for 2013. I don't know why Jonathan Mize is $31,000.
I don't know.
But he
It
told me,
is.
well, I'll bet you right now he could figure out how to reduce it.
Well, I already have by $25,000 because their number's wrong.
Okay,
And when
wow.
you get other entities that are charged, I could go on with like Moore Hill, Mount $8,000, the public school gets $1,600, Effingham $700. What, there's no rhyme or reason there.
I can.
That doesn't make any sense, Mike.
I just talked to the superintendent out there, I had a couple other issues to visit with him about, and they haul all their recycling on, so the only thing they bring is salt. So, I mean, there's some, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I don't think there was any study done there.
Well, Chase, I mean, he can tell you, and Matt, there's a lot of recycled stuff, so there has been one, that needs.
We recycle a lot as well, corrugated boxes, we crush down, we have 2 dumpsters, 3 dumpsters, we do recyclable wood, we do all this stuff that comes out of there, and we still get taxed, we're in the top 10, maybe the top 5.
Top 2.
Top 2, and I'm surprised that there's not other larger businesses here. I think everybody's got this bill and they don't know what to do, they're gonna be shocked. And I'm just surprised it's not a bigger forum here. We need to have a forum, we need to have a meeting, we need to get this fixed, because you're gonna be surprised. You're gonna get his phone, I'm sure your phone chases, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, we're all in this together.
Costing the county $5,000 because we didn't do that to begin with, which is what we were legally supposed to do.
You're right.
And again, communication.
Yeah,
I think that, my understanding, here again, we haven't formally, but I think that's one of our procedures is to go get a letter drafted and to explain the situation, and thus then the appeal process will be lengthy. And then that fulfills.
And I'm happy that that's being done, but even the appeal letter, as I talked to Jeff or whatever, where's the appeal letter, It didn't get posted till that Saturday after the stuff went out, because nobody even had thought that far ahead.
And I got that appeal letter from another business owner here in town via email. I didn't get that through you guys, and maybe that's the process there, but we have all the paperwork, we're gonna submit our appeal, and, I guess we'll wait for a call back and tell us how we're supposed to pay or what we're supposed to pay, and we'd like an answer. So that's all I can say from our end, and I'd be happy to be involved in any community. We've always been a good community leader in this town, and certainly be involved in that, since we're one of the top 4 or 5, which I still disagree with. We should be that high, because we do a lot of recycling anyway. So I'm just. I guess I'm done like Derek. I gotta probably leave before I get too more hot-headed. But Chase, you wanna say something, go ahead.
The appeal process, Jeff, it's gotta be on the business owner. They gotta prove to us what they've thrown away. When I've been to visit Mr. Lampy one time and, Ms. Geiger on another time years and years ago, they have comparables when they come in, it's a two-way street. Mr. Lampy gets a heck of a lot of heat or whatever. He is tough but fair. Everything is uniform. This kind of give and take I was getting with the chairman initially was, you're going to have to prove to us. There is some onerous on the business owner to provide some documentation, but there's just that level of due diligence that we have to have for comparables to go backwards and forwards. I was shocked today. The numbers, you keep doing comparative analysis or whatever, and again, it goes to recyclables and whatever else, but golly, the numbers can be exactly right, but they could be way wrong. For example, Bill Murphy is paying $4,400 between his 2 convenience stores. Dennis Garrett at Country Mart's paying half of that. It's just one of those kind of comparisons. Maybe Dennis is doing a better job of recycling, but you gotta drill down in the numbers to see.
But also, who's his trash hauler, and has their trash hauler been contacted? No, they have not.
I guess I have 3 answers. First, Bush Mines is going to get a report that explains how the numbers were compiled. I can tell you right now, it was done, we recorded Bush Mines and a number of other businesses directly what their tonnages were. We'll have all the information for you. Obviously, we don't know what went into it. We don't know why it was so high. We do have some inflated numbers that have been explained to us. We don't know everything about the trash, but we will meet with you And, you'll get an explanation as.
How do you don't have the answers? You guys came up with this. I don't understand. Who developed this
Well-
formula? I guess maybe I'm out of the loop of that
We
then.
did implement it from the study suggestion. Obviously, it's a new calculus, it's new uncharted territory, and it is, the idea behind it is excellent, in that it is calibrated to exactly what you use. Now, we're gonna have our first year implementation problems, just making a transition, as we've seen. Bush Mize and a number of other businesses, we do have exact tonnages, that we weigh at the transfer station. We will be able to go into the process with you, and we need to sit down. I admit, we do need to be,
Should have done that first before you sent out the tax. That's what I'm getting at. You guys
And
get put
that's-
way in front before all this just to throw it on us.
and we did,
That's my
when we
beef.
passed the resolution, we did, in section 8, we did say prior notice, we did miss that, we are going to fix that. We're sending out another, our notice, probably December 3rd, next Monday. We'll have something in writing that will explain everything that we need to explain. So we are taking care of that. Obviously, it's not ideal, but we are trying to work on it and get it fixed.
But to Jonathan's question, there were only, from my recollection, 12 businesses that their weight was actually recorded.
Yes.
And that weight window was only a small window.
We have almost 6 months now.
Okay. But you're assessing those 12 businesses based on their weight. Everybody else is being assessed on a volume. You're using two different facts. Additionally, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. If I was a private waste hauler, if I was going to Morehill Mounts Academy with their limited amount of waste, and the price of diesel being $4 a gallon, Mike, would you really go Morehill, pick up a quarter of a garbage truck, and dump it at the landfill, and then go about the rest of your business? From a business standpoint, to be a data collection arm of the county, that just wouldn't work well for me. So I'm trying to get my head around it.
Well, I don't know what the threshold was for certain businesses to be measured and then everyone else have to be calculated on a different metric, volume versus weight. Ideally, we would love to be able to have everybody's weight exactly, but we can't do that. That's just not a reality.
Right, but we're only,
With our current facility.
there's 8,000 billables, there's only a sample set of 12 that are based on weight. So that's,
I don't know exactly how those 12 got on that list, and whether we need to expand it, whether it's...
okay, who made up that list, I guess? That's where we're here trying to communicate.
Well, to address that, now, weren't those the haulers that bring roll-offs out? So that's how you got on the list, if you brought...
Oh, so Morehill replaced ceiling tiles this summer, their roll-off got weighed.
Right, and...
Their 40-yard roll-off got weighed.
We are...
And so that could be incredibly anomalous, and their sample set.
I'm meeting with them tomorrow, and we do need to explain, or have explained, because the numbers are the numbers. We did not do anything to them.
Right, but the numbers, it's a matter of the way the data was collected. Here, bear with me for a minute. Morehill, $8,000, okay? They have
Were they on the roll-off list?
Yes.
They have 185 students at Morehill Mount Academy. 80 of those students are residential, okay? Mall towers, I was just counting air conditioners. 120 units, plus or minus. $660, okay? The public schools, 377 and 409, per student, about $1 apiece. So, for Morehill's residential population, I'm gonna use the $600 mall towers got. For the 200 student population, I'm gonna use the $1 per student that the public schools got. You with me? $200, $600. What's that, Chase? You've been adding up numbers. I'm not trying to talk down to you.
That's $800.
What were they assessed? $8,000. There was two separate assessments, and it was nearly $8,000.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is the logic is so incredibly skewed that I could build their waste as $800 and I could use it as $8,000, and I'm just...
Well, we have them we have weight numbers that we did not make up, we just recorded them, and we went forward with those numbers. They are weights, and if we can't weigh you, we have to use the volume assessment. So it's not arbitrarily, we're gonna apply this calculus to this entity, this calculus to this entity. It's what we have, the information that's reported to us. Like I said, we are gonna meet with Mount Renault tomorrow, and they have already indicated that they had construction. Their number went way up. It is inflated. It's not a true baseline number, as is Benedictine. It's not a true baseline number. It is inflated with construction or what have you. Obviously, we're gonna, as we're afforded more time and we are recording more and more weights, and we're getting a better assessment, it will be adjusted as needed. I get the sense, I do understand that there's a frustration that we're basing a fee system off of information that is not to an ideal amount. We don't have to an ideal.
800, 8,000, Chase, just give me that, a little past ideal.
Right. Yes, it is.
I mean,
There's a discrepancy, I will just.
It's not jumping over a creek, it's the Grand Canyon. Benedictine College, 23,000, whatever, and there's little data creep in there that, okay, not only PC is just that $23,000, and I understand you're a Benedictine graduate, right?
Yes.
Tom, Jeff are Catholics, I'm Catholics, but it's beginning to feel like you hate Catholics, okay? I was out on the campaign trail, Mike Bogenhouse, and more than a number of people suggested that the only new paved roads that happen in Atchison County are the Catholic churches, is the only reason I throw that one out.
Well, the two.
But DC, $23,000 on the base, but then we don't get into the numbers that they're getting a couple $3,000 on top of that in hidden assessments. For example, they rent the Benedictine loft apartments from Free Country adjacent to Mueller's. That building's assessed about $1,200 or whatever. $200 goes to the guidance center, the rest goes to their apartment. That's another $1,000. They have another 20, 40, I don't know how many units that they rent and then sublet again back to their students or whatever. If you take, a number of those residences, at least another $1,000. Then it starts being $25,000, and then the figures just, no, Benedictine probably hasn't done that analysis or got, their hands wrapped around it, but it's costing them money because those landlords have to go after that. And these are huge numbers.
And they'll appeal the process, I'm sure. And I guess I'm gonna have to leave, Commissioners. I guess my hope is that the commission meets, again, with a better public forum than what we have when all three are represented, and there's some decisions made out of this process. Chase, we look forward to seeing you for a meeting. I'd rather think you'd see us versus someone that owes $8,000 when someone supposedly owes $31,000. You should be seeing us first, but you go see who you want to go see. You guys need to fix this. I don't think we're very happy here with the small group that we have, and Mr. Steck has started a nice little grassroots effort here that's going to really barn burner here with what's going to happen, because people are going to start looking at their bills here as they already have, and we need to fix it, and I'm not happy with it. So we're taxed enough, and especially our business is taxed enough. We've been here 141 years. We pay a lot of taxes. We're proud to support this community, but we need to come up with a different way to do this. And the sales tax is certainly doing that, so why change it? So, but again, that's all I'm going to say. And I got to go. Let's go, Greg. Right. Here's your list.
Thank you. Oh, you can go that way.
Just go out that way. Good.
How much, business owners, how much have you been paying to the county to get rid of your trash before?
I pay Martin's $105 a month.
The county.
Paid to the county? You paid your trash hauler that much. How much does the county get from that? You don't know of any? Okay. See, there you are. Businesses haven't been paying to get rid of their trash. Am I right, Chief? You knew that.
Oh my gosh, we collected though.
They collected, bro.
Collection is one aspect of the solid waste. Collection is either through a city program or a private hauler. but the actual transportation, once it's staged at the transfer station and has to go somewhere else,
I said at the last meeting here that the voters decided in 1993 how they wanted to handle their tax for their solid waste. And I still believe the bulk of the people believe that that's how solid waste should be done, through a sales tax collection, that the county does get that money. Now, do I write a check to the county for that? No. But I write a check to the Department of Revenue, I don't do it electronically, and they turn around and send you guys a check for $700 some odd thousand, and the city turn around and give you another $400,000.
Yeah,
So,
what does your business pay to the county for getting rid of it?
These are small businesses, they're working hard, this isn't,
Tom, that's not how we decided to do it in 1993. We decided to put a tax on everybody, and that's how we were gonna handle it. I mean, if you're gonna do it, put a tipping fee out there, so we can at least pay it monthly, instead of paying it all at one time. I mean, everybody in here's got a bill of over $1,000, just us people.
So, would you go with the tipping fee then?
It makes I think what we're doing was fine. You have too much money. I think my personal opinion is, and I've studied this along with Mike somewhat, I think it was an ill-conceived idea to begin with, and I think it would be prudent for the county commissioners to rescind it and say, we're gonna have enough money, because you're collecting money for 2012, which you've already collected. I think that would be a prudent thing to do, and I think everybody in this room would probably agree with me. And if there was a shortfall, I guess I can't see where the shortfall is going to be. Because like I said, you also increased the ad valorem tax on everybody in the county as well by 16%. I just can't see why you're doing it. I mean, the logic behind it, I do understand. You're thinking we ought to pay for what we use. That's pretense behind this whole idea. But you've already collected money. It's like collecting twice. And that's the part I
Just
just...
not from the business, you collected the sales tax,
You're
collected the sales tax.
The sales tax that is being collected this year is what we're paying 2012 expenditures from.
And what are you gonna do with the sales tax you're gonna collect for 2013? And the $800,000?
Well, we haven't collected 2013 sales tax yet.
And you're not? Are you not going to?
We're hoping to collect some. I mean, that's the uncertainty of the sales tax bill.
well, no, that's an uncertainty with
Mike,
businesses sold because they have to pay the solid
The
waste.
sales tax has been relatively stable. It's not 100%, but it's been relatively stable for the last 20 years. If it's done anything, it's increased. And you could tell me that if it goes down even $100,000 or $200,000, that's not gonna, you're still gonna have, I think Trey figured that you're still gonna have about $49,000 more if it stays just the same.
Yeah, he didn't. Go ahead, Terry.
But I think this is for what we pay on the 20th of December this year is gonna be for 2012. Am I right?
No, it goes to the 2013 budget.
Well, I mean, in the
But so will all the money that you get.
the tax is assessed for 2012, but
It's based on
it's not like we told our register of deeds, we'll pay you next year when we get money. I mean, the tax is for 2012, the revenue that comes in is to be spent in 2013. We're not supposed to keep a year's worth of cash on hand so that we can use the 2012 taxes to replenish the fund. I mean, we would have to have $15 million in the bank to do that. I don't think anybody wants any government to have a year's worth of their budget in cash reserves.
But the point is still that there's enough money from the sales tax collected to operate what they're operating.
But anyway, Bill, what I'm getting at, businesses don't pay any money to the county for getting rid of the trash that you take to the transfer station.
Tom, I'm gonna tell you, between my two stores, my property tax bill is $40,000.
That's ad valorem tax.
Tom, you know what? It comes out of the same pocket. It goes into the same pocket. How you guys spend the money?
They wanna do that to the ad valorem tax to your mill to the, how much the cost of solid waste, $100 million.
Well, if you could convert that 700,000 to a mill levy, it would be somewhere around,
10 mils, 6 mils. Your tax bill will be 6 mils higher. You didn't have a.
I tell you what, and my point goes back to 1993, the county taxpayers decided how they wanted to handle it. And you guys basically said, we don't want to handle it that way anymore. And we want to handle it with these assessments, but you didn't take off the tax, the sales tax. So you're getting it twice. Whether you get it this year or next year, you're still getting it twice. You're getting it on the assessment and the sales tax. And I don't know, that's not very hard for anybody to see. You're getting at least $1.2 million in sales tax, and you're going to get $800,000 in the fee.
Okay, if we're getting too much from 1 cent sales tax, next year we'll be able to lower the mill levy.
But that's not what it was designed for. That was my point, is that the taxpayers decided they put without that tax.
But that can't be done. With the money we're getting from the 1 cent sales tax, what the entities give us. So, we gotta do something.
So why does the chairman suggest that we need to take it to the legislature to get it voted on if we're already just throwing it in the general fund anyway?
It wants to be done, we want it to be done right.
Well,
No, to go from an interlocal agreement to an actual statute, or a statute, to go and go through the proper process. And it can be any number of things, it can be reduced, repurposed. It does need to be addressed. I think that's a recurring theme throughout, is that it's not been used, as the voters' wishes, so it needs to be addressed so that it does, either get put up or, it can be reworked so that it does work in everyone's best interest, because it's not as of right now. It hasn't been in the past, and we're trying to work towards getting it fixed, but you don't just cut that out of your budget, and there is a transition, and I know we've communicated that a number of times. We have to transition if we're gonna do something about that 1 cent sales tax.
But you're gonna collect it for at least 2 more years.
I can't say when we'll actually be able
Which
to
is,
get it done.
2 more years is about $2.25 million more dollars
And
that the county will receive.
If we do, then we can lower the mill levy. I say.
When the designation of the funds were for solid waste and joint communications, I don't think it was intended to reduce, that would be fine with me if that's what happened. But I think you may have a legal issue when you start taking money, and I guess it's already been done. From what the county taxpayers voted for, that's not what's happening. And I think that's probably, that and the fact that it's twice as much money as I believe you need, from what I can see and from the budgets that I've seen, you're gonna have twice as much money for solid waste that you need. Because it costs $930,000 budgeted this year, is that right, Chase?
$845,000.
Well, budgeted expense, operation.
Solid waste budget for 2013 is $845,000.
No, well, but no, that included employee benefits.
No, that's a new, so yes, over $900,000.
Okay, about $900,000, and you've collected from the state over $700,000 and over $400,000 from the city.
Bill, the sales tax for 2012, is for 2012.
But you're just collecting it.
We collected it, but we're paying our bills as we go along with that sales tax. Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how are you double collecting? When we collect 2013 sales tax, whatever we collect, if it's $1, it goes towards the 2013 budget.
How much do you have estimated to come in from the state on the 1 cent sales tax for 2013?
What are we estimating? Well, it was put in the budget at 1.39, but I think that's over budgeted.
Okay, and you have budgeted to operate the solid waste at 900 and some odd thousand, and joint communications is about 400. That's about 1.3.
Don't say.
I understand why you have
really
another
think-
800,000.
I think the figure's closer to 450, so I mean, you're talking, 13 something.
But you're collecting an additional 800,000 in these fees.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right, all right, but.
Your budget is both ways.
Jeff should be here because he's the one that, they, it was decided to consolidate some funds, so it's general now. So it doesn't show specifically, Mike, you understand where it's going. It's in a general fund.
No, you've made it plain as day, and I thank you for that, Mike. It's clear that it's in the general fund, and it's not being used as the voters overwhelmingly voted for in 1993.
There's a lot of things in there, and I'll be glad to share, you rejected my packet, but I'll be glad.
No, I didn't reject the packet. I just tried to send you an email, so you didn't get it? Oh, no,
You sent it today.
No, I replied that night, but I'm sorry it missed you. No, absolutely, I love to see numbers and data.
Well, and these are, I want you to know, these are actual audited figures, so it's not something I pulled out of the sky. But I mean, yeah, there is no doubt, I will sit here, profession is good for the soul, and that's what troubled me when I even supported the concept, is that that's gonna be going against the voters' wishes. What I was forced with, and I'm only speaking for myself, okay, we had to come up with $400,000 to do the
Understand, it's understood that you have a difficult job, and you made the choice of making a solid waste assessment as opposed to raising the mill levy.
Right, so that's the option that I took, so that's what I think the businesses have to look at, is although, like I said, I have supported more the idea, and I'm talking my own personal opinion, was something in the neighborhood of 300,000, because we already had a mill levy for the ambulance, okay? We could have transferred, we could have left that mill levy and took $300,000 of the sales tax money, added a little more to the mill levy, and then we could have jump-started and got the ambulance going. That was my intentions, okay, with that. Going back to visit the sales tax study, knowing that I've now committed or been a part of committing the same thing that every other city in the county has done, because every other city has not upheld the original agreements.
Just because you're the last one to cheat on your wife doesn't make you any better or worse than anybody else.
Did I just say I was...
No, I know. I appreciate the honesty, Mike, because I don't think we've been to this point prior to.
And Mike, that's what has bothered me. I want you to know that that was my intention, and that's why I thought a smaller fee transition is there's some legitimacy to it in terms of it's a driving factor to cut down on solid waste. Because why are we at 2% and the state is at 3% for recycling?
Understood.
That's not totally, don't get me wrong, that's not totally just, because we get back to ethics and principles. And I agree 100%.
And that's where I'm at.
I'm trying to get Bill to understand that what we're collecting now is what we're going to use for the 2013 budget.
I hear that.
Even our ad valorem tax.
I understand that, but you're also gonna receive 1.3 million in sales tax.
But if I was to tell you that that was being used for the ambulance instead of a mill levy? Some of that was being used. Are you opposed to that?
I think the sales tax ought to be used as it was designed.
Okay.
And if you wanna, number one, I think you're spending a lot of money on the ambulance, you probably shouldn't be, but that's not my
Would you
favorite.
like to put a bid in for next year? We're not.
If I'm gonna do anything, Mike, I'm gonna get out of this, because I can't afford to have another $4,500 bill next year just to use the dump that we were already funding.
When I got into this ambulance thing, I seen that this was not gonna, I do not understand how the hospital ran it, and I don't think the people in the city have any any inkling of how much money that volunteer service has saved this county for years?
I agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay, we are going to go into a county-wide system now where because we're the ones that's mandated to do it, okay? This is the route we chose. If we'd have done this on our own, Bill, we'd have had, based on the calculations, instead of 800,000, we'd probably had to budget 1.3. Would you have liked that?
Just say that again.
We would have had to budget about 1.3 million, and the reason
For the
is
ambulance?
because, yes. Now, you're gonna say, why? Do you, it's not like going into your store and you pay as you get something. You may wait 3-4 months before you collect, but you're still paying help. You wanna talk about being delayed, we would have been, we're basically having to budget for a year and a half, and it would have took us a whole year to even get back. So, by going the process that we did, those guys are absorbing all that 3 to 4 month lag time in collecting, calls or not collecting. Let's face it, there's gonna be a large, you'd be surprised what the collection rate on an ambulance. Wes knows.
Very good.
And I'm not arguing that. All about the ambulance.
I'm trying to explain to you.
You're trying to bring that into the, to the
Yeah,
trash.
I'm trying to explain to you,
I don't think so.
I'm trying to just explain to you that I would have, if I knew this was gonna be this much, just put it on property tax and let people complain about property tax. Put the 400,000 that we needed to start at the ambulance.
But this is the first time we've gotten to the point.
But Mike,
Listen, I respect my other commissioners, their decision, how they write that, that's fine. I will support, because I voted for the concept simply from the standpoint, from a business standpoint, it gets more people playing, in it. But I was hoping that this would be just a 1 year, because of the time frames that we were confronted with. In order to do something on this ambulance and the budget and stuff, we were kind of in a situation, are we going to do this totally mill levy? Are we gonna, the tipping fee bill, I support, except we do not have scales at Effingham. How are you going to tipping fee at Effingham?
Can you get scales for $800,000? Because that's what you're collecting. My point is still, Mike, you also, you talk about
You can
putting it on.
scenario it to death, and it
No.
still comes up to way
You also increased the ad valorem tax that you collected by $800,000 also. 16% increase, the largest increase in 10 years. Okay, plus you have 800,000 more new dollars coming in with the fee. So you actually have not just $800,000 for the fee, you also have another $800,000 in ad valorem tax that you guys have increased. And I thought that was for the ambulance. That $800,000 increase on ad valorem tax. I'm looking at it in mirrors, and maybe I'm seeing something twice that's really not there, but I haven't had anybody show me anything different, because I've looked at the budget, from the county's budget, and I still don't know. And I've worked with numbers my whole life. And if you increase the ad valorem tax by $800,000, and you reflect another $800,000 on the fee, and you did away with no revenue, you didn't stop any revenue from coming in, you're not stopping the sales tax from coming in, so it's still all there, and you increase the budget. I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, I could be, maybe I don't understand it, but I've worked on municipal budgets in the past, so, I just don't understand. And maybe
Well, to Bill's point, and I think Bill's getting kind of lost in the weeds about some of it, but to bring it back, and you're talking about the issue whether this is 2012 or 2013 tax or whatever, in one form or fashion, you're getting at least half of that money in calendar year 2012.
You always do it.
But you're saying paying it forward and we need this, shock absorber to get to building an ambulance or whatever else, just to concede a point to Bill.
So Mike, the money we're getting in December, this can't be spent for 2012.
Understood, but it can be spent on January 1st in 10 days. So, and I'm getting lost in the weeds. I'm not one to argue that point with you, Tom. I was just trying to help Bill out. And I absolutely appreciate your point, Tom, of it spreading the load as a consumption tax as opposed to somewhere else. And I get that point too, but the consumption tax can become as a tipping fee and whatever else, and that goes back to an hour and a half ago where I said, why aren't we talking about this with our duly, legal body that we may or may not have?
And here again, and I appreciate it.
I'm not holding you accountable because I'm mad because I'm not at the county commission meeting every day. As a citizen, I should be doing more, but,
I think, sometimes things have to read it. It may be good now that's brought forward that we can, as we proceed into 2013, as we look at this and stuff, because as I said, this can all change easy next year. I mean, I can, as I look in this budget, we have two projects. Let me just share this with you. There's two projects that we wouldn't have had necessarily do this year. One is River Road, and we're next to the, River Road is, okay? We had FEMA money. If we didn't use it this year, we lost it, $60,000. And we think that's a good community project, okay. Memorial Hall, Joe's here. We got the biggest grant in the state of Kansas to fix the lineals and get that building kind of back up into reasonable shape. We can turn that down and we can cut $125,000. Okay. Those are possibilities.
No, and I'm trying to do that, but I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are things
but
that come into the budget where Bill's coming in with the $800,000, stuff that people don't realize that if they'd been here in the budget process.
I get that.
Now, there's some other things I think that, you could still, manipulate, that I didn't particularly support. But these are things that I think are important and got some legitimacy to them. But what I'm saying, those two items are one time. They're not those are one time, they're gone.
But as Jack is calling for, when are we going to get a quorum? When is it actually going to be in the paper so everybody understands, the stakeholders, we're going to discuss this? Now, the commission's got it, but the commission jumped the gun because we don't have this committee. So I guess I would charge Mr. Cocking to forthwith, start talking about an appointee for the mayor, to serve on this committee. I would be talking to representatives.
Right?
Pardon me?
3 appointees from the cities of first class.
Well, an appointee from every city of the first class, plus up to so many of cities of the second class, plus at least one of cities of third class, plus a member of the unincorporated area of Jackson County, plus industry, trash haulers, everything. But we need to be thinking about that right now, because how you tweak this could shape everything else going forward. And if it's just the three of you up there without the advice of council that you shall do, we might be, kicking the can down the road. That's, I know you can't get everything implemented, tomorrow, but I'm sure Trey and Al put their head together, hey, we can send somebody over here in a couple weeks, maybe.
And I'm gonna do this because I do this all the time with my commission, and I think we're to a point that folks have spoke today, that there seems to be a lot of tension with this. To me, as I keep on saying this, there's two global issues. Number one is the use of the solid waste fee in the first place. That's issue number one. I don't think that's going to be solved between now and December 20th. Issue number two is the implementation of the solid waste fee. How many people can Chase meet with in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, to get that done, get those amended? Does this commission need to have some sort of policy where business owners can pay 20% now, work it out? And how are you going to handle the Jack Bowers of the world who reduce their waste? should Jack be stuck with that fee all year? Or if Jack legitimately sounds like he's reduced his waste, can he get his solid waste fee for this year lowered? And I think the same would be for Mr. Murphy, and the same for, and I think if you guys can come up with a policy that addresses, hey, we're only gonna collect 20% now, we're gonna let you guys try to reduce your weight, and then we'll reevaluate this based on what everybody's done. I think you guys can come up with something that's gonna make a lot of people happy, versus everybody saying, hey, pay 50% now, and we have to collect it. Now, I understand that you guys have a revenue issue on the other side of things, but, you know, to me, you guys need to find out if it's $100,000, $200,000 that you're gonna be short. If you are, you know, you're talking $9 million budget, you're probably talking 2% cut at most to a $9 million budget. It's not fun, it can be done easily. So, I mean, to me, I think those are the two things that need to be addressed. I think there needs to be a study on the solid waste fee. I think all these tipping concerns, but that's something that needs to happen between now and April to go forward. But I think you guys need something in the short term to address how we move forward.
Yes, excellent point. I think we briefly discussed that. The Trace will be working on some procedures that we could do to help reduce the blow. Maybe even have a policy, an agreement where, you know, Jack's going to say, okay, in the next 2 months, I'm going to show you how I'm going to reduce 20%. Well, then he can be rebated. You know, I have a little problem because it's kind of like the revitalization thing. I mean, I think once you've done it, you get the rebate back. You know, in other words, I think they're going to need to be.
We can differ over this, but, you know, to me, the whole thing that I have a gut problem with this solid waste fee is you're guilty until proven innocent. And I don't like that. And yeah, I like the idea of that, but right now, you're guilty until proven innocent. Until you can prove to us that you're innocent, then we'll rebate it back. I'm on a limb here. I'm out on a limb here, and I have to say, to me, something needs to be done to soften it.
And exactly, in the business sense. I mean, what Tom says is pretty true, but not totally in terms of what you're paying the county. But I think in terms of, if you're talking, I think if we're looking at what the sales tax a business pays, and I'm not saying what you collect, Bill, that's a little different, okay? Because if I buy something in your store, I'm paying that. You're just collecting it on my behalf and sending it.
That's one of those technical things.
Is that?
Because when you buy a gallon of gas today, what did you pay?
I didn't buy it.
No, but, come on, Mike, just work with me. It's 3 1/4, right?
I did pay for it. I guess I did buy gas and fill up for 3 1/4.
But I'm saying,
You got a can
to a consumer, the 3 1/4 is a 3 1/4. It's not a cost of doing business, and it's that hyper-technical, whether it's a tax or it's a levy or assessment, it's all coming out of my wallet, you know, so you're going back in the weeds with Bill, and I wanted to pull you back.
I don't want to get back in the weeds into this global discussion. I think the global discussion needs to happen, but I don't think it's going to be solved this afternoon. But, you know, let's talk about it, let's develop a smart policy, and, you know, if it's a revenue, you know, there are several things we can look at as far as revenue. Number one, I think you need to get a list. I mean, when I did the quick math one day, and I wanted to say, hey, all these medium-sized businesses, this excludes Jonathan, but I think it got to Moore Hill, you know, we're looking at $100,000 roughly on these medium-sized businesses if their bills were all reduced to $250. So it's not a huge, unsurmountable number to come up with. Now you throw BC in and whatever that reduction would get in, and throw Blish Mize in, whatever that reduction would get into, you know, that can cause, you know, now maybe you're talking $150,000. But at the same time, if they can reduce these waste sources, you guys are saving money out at the transfer station too. So to me, if you can have a smart policy, and I guess what I'm getting to, Commissioner, and I think is what would help all these folks here, is if you guys could set a date in stone. I would prefer not the 6th, because that doesn't work with me. Let's talk about this policy. If it needs to be the 4th, we can talk about, or not the 4th, but the 3rd.
Well, you the 5th.
That's what I meant. The 5th doesn't work for me, but the 3rd would work. or if you wanna push it till next Monday, or that Monday, which would almost be great if you would push it to the 10th, because that would give Chase plenty of time to have conversations with everybody, figure out what's wrong in the first place, what's just out and out wrong, and then, once you know what's wrong, then we can figure out, okay, if it's not wrong, we want to challenge you guys to reduce it, and here's our policy that lets us do that. But if Chase could report back on the 10th, and if you guys could answer these gentlemen's discussions on the 10th, and then they know certain when that's going to be discussed and what time it's going to be discussed, I think that will keep these gentlemen from coming up here every meeting if they know when it's on the agenda and when action's going to be taken.
I think that's a great point, and like I said, I want all three of us here to discuss that, because I know, we've had some minor, differences in approach to this, say, not that any one of them is wrong as far as that goes, but, I think that would give.
When is Commissioner Poll installed?
January 14th.
Well, I'm just asking.
December 20th is a big date, because
You said the 3rd or the 5th or something too.
Of December.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I would like, I'd say December 10th is a good date. I just would like something in place before December 20th and those tax bills are due.
I think we need to start making some of those kind of steps. I don't think you're going to get everything answered, because I think there's no doubt that the businesses got stopped really hard. And maybe some of them, in terms of, are more justified than we really realize in what they want to get. I'm not, saying it is.
Well, there's like one restaurant, similar occupancies, 10 to 1. I don't know if you saw that figure out there, and I'm not going to throw that out for public consumption.
And
10 to 1, Mike.
At the same time, you guys might hire Mike. Sounds like Mike's have a lot of time. You guys might hire Mike to go through these numbers.
I don't have the time, but it's the point where I need to be paid for it, because I've done a lot of that.
Well, I spend a lot of time on the weekend.
Or buy some pictures?
No, I think that's fair, and it's, that gives us time to start working on some things, and, I think the thing that, and I know some household people, but, I think they have to understand that's, they're probably getting a fairly pretty good deal by going this way, if you accept $61 per cubic yard. But we do have the basic appeal process there is if you've got a vacant house. We have to wait 12 months. They have to prove it, because we don't know, you understand, how that. And you can't say because the house is vacant today, it's not going to be justified. But we're going to work with them.
It's a 2012, this is where, go back to the fact that it is a 2012 tax. So you gotta go off the 2012 year that your assessment is on, just based on assessments. I could have a vacant lot on January 1, and that's the taxes I'm gonna pay, even though I now have a $450,000 house on it. I'm gonna pay the vacant lot price till next year's taxes. It's just the nature of the business. So I would say if you had a vacant house in 2012, it's vacant, and I think that's fair. As far as determining if it's vacant, we can tell you if the water's been on or not, and we'd be happy to work with Chase on those numbers. So, to me, that's easier than having the landlord come up, show the ledger, get a hold of Westar. If it's in the city, now if it's in the county or if it's not one of our customers, that gets a lot harder, but Effingham should have the same information, and Lancaster, I would imagine, should have the same information.
Which speaks to a point that how the city and the county can cooperate, that Alan, Chairman, or whatever it is, Mayor Rivas, and I were having a brainstorming session on Friday, and out of that, I came up with an idea, and just like, we all know, there's no new ideas or whatever, I got to the internet, and, my thought was, again, square footage of a house. 2,000 square foot house, 8,000 pounds of trash. In terms of a tipping fee, that's just kind of whatever. It's called an impact fee.
And I would go back to this, I'm trying to keep us, that's the global discussion that needs to happen.
But those kind of
between
things.
now and April.
That, it's an impact fee that we can pick that up on a building permit, we can pick it up in the appraiser's office on a revitalization program, we can pick it up in the sanitation department with a septic tank fee, that we're, opportunities to capture that stuff, but that's hyper-technical details we don't need here. Agreed.
But that does need to be something. Because I can take a picture of Commissioner Shilley's trash and my trash, and he's gonna win every week, and we're paying the same $61. So is that fair? That's all another discussion for another day.
That's by child.
But that's a discussion. But that's a discussion that discussion needs to take place on the global sense, I think that makes your life a lot easier come budget time. If that discussion's had place, you have a solid recommendation. But I think the short-term step needs to happen. I think you really got to separate those issues, the short-term versus the long-term. Unless the short-term is just to repeal the solid waste fee, and everything I understand from you guys don't have the budget flexibility to do that this year.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I think, don't expect me to be an expert, but from what I think, there's a possibility, there's, if you look at the households with that fee, and knowing that there's only probably 8 to 10% maximum of them is gonna be, actually be able to be repealed, justified. Somebody's gonna come in and say, well, I only got, I'm only one person, that's true. Well, we gotta, use some kind of.
Well, in order to be able to justify that for Mr. Brunick, to make his job easier,
Yeah.
the average population of a single-family home in Atchison County is 2.1
Well,
feet.
now you're.
But anyway, when we're starting to get into the weeds about assessing
Yeah, I
residential
think we're getting
property.
technical, but I think when you get there, if my numbers add up, that's well over half of our assessed fee. So, you keep coming up, 800,000 is the projected, but we've got that 10% built in there that we think, so it's really closer to like 710 is what Bill, so that's what we're actually figuring, that if we didn't have to answer, or didn't have to make any major adjustments, so we still got $240,000 or $250,000 there that we have to work within. I'm not saying because if we refunded $250,000, that means all these businesses will pay nothing. Now, Jack would argue, no.
No,
I know, but you know what I'm saying is I think.
I'm gonna make a change.
Yeah.
Because I think all of us should make a change.
Exactly.
We can't keep filling that transfer station full. It's just the timing of it kind of,
So you're 100% right.
yeah.
100% right.
To go along with what Trey said, I did meet with Matt, and we are starting to find that number that we can work with so that we can make the short term more bearable, and make a transition, see how we can get things funded, get what we need to get done as far as the county's responsibility, and make that number reflect. If we can get reduces in our, reductions in what we have to spend money on, we can work in the near term, and that will afford us the luxury of revisiting the issue and figuring out how to fund the remaining balance for 2013 and moving forward. But we are going in that direction. We're meeting with Steppenbaugh tomorrow. We'll have more information on Monday to discuss the short term, what we can and cannot do, and what are the realities in our budget and the money that's required to fund the budget. So nobody was misled. We have started that process. We don't have any information as of right now, because we still have a lot of variables to figure out. But once we have those, we'll work to get the transition between now and December 20th and the time thereafter more manageable. We are going to make it work. So.
And I want I'm totally committed to get this, fix it, whatever it needs to be, whether it's through a committee or whatever. It's definitely a little too much. I've used the term a little too aggressive. Is that okay?
I'm not going to call you out on that one. I called you out on other things, and I thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate your input, really do, because, but what I'm saying is I think this, if we can get through this and get some adjustments, and it's not going to be perfect, it isn't going to be perfect, when you deal with 8,000 or so different entities that you have to put on your ledger of your tax statement thing. And,
What are we doing, just another broad question, because this speaks to today about, picking up properties, and there was one property in particular that wasn't picked up, and we'll talk about that, I won't bring that up.
well, I'm assuming they're coming in, won't they come in and tell us?
Well, that's not customary, is my understanding, but you got, 8 people in the appraiser's office, and their boots on the ground, and, could do a lot to analyze this data. If you need to liberate some solid waste budget to push at the appraisers department, hey, we need some help, boots on the ground today, you know, looking at, you know,
Physical examination.
well, I don't know about physical examination, but there's some question with residential properties, and again, I'd rather not address this in open forum, because it'll open up a can of worms, but
Mike, what would your fee be to do this?
I could do a lot just from my armchair and with the appraiser stuff on the website, just how intimate I know this community from, you know, having driven every street. Again, you know, yeah, but I got a day job that I've neglected this last week.
So, December 10th, is December 10th a good date that folks can know that this discussion will happen?
Let's set that and we'll communicate if that's, you know.
And what time's your meeting on the 10th?
Well, we'll meet at 3 o'clock.
What time are your meetings the rest of the week?
Pardon?
What time are your meetings the rest of the week?
Wednesday will be at 9:15.
9:15.
And Friday, you may not have any.
And I won't be here.
This Monday, Wednesday.
Michael won't be here.
No meeting this Wednesday?
We probably not gonna meet, Alan's having eye surgery, Jeff's gone the whole week. And so,
So no meeting Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, I can come down here for an hour, I mean, I really need to be in Manhattan, I can come down here, but I can't, you know,
Yeah.
can't really even pass anything, yeah, no. We can have a nice conversation, drink coffee, but that's, we haven't formally set that, but I think that's what we're leading to, so, we will communicate with Jeff and make sure that the 10th, I really think that should work, because that gives you almost 2 weeks.
You say the 10th?
Yes.
And, you know, you guys have been really civil, and if you've got any suggestions, I mean, don't take half-hour changes time, but if you get just to throw a suggestion, don't be afraid to throw it. It's not that we won't, it's not to say that we would implement it, but we'll take it under consideration, because we still have to work under a budget that's been passed, you know, to a certain degree. So, we don't wanna make promises we can't keep. So, but
Time for a small businessman to try to get here.
I have no problem with evening meetings. I mean, as we reorganize, you know, those are things that
Understood, but, you know, just,
because I can truly understand, I mean, you know, we're on camera, but if you tried to watch it it doesn't come real clear.
it's tough to watch. Especially when you're up there whispering about stuff and whatever else. But not to say that you're intentionally cloaking what you're doing, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it isn't as visual per se as I mean, it's not like high definition TV. So, and I think that's something that as we go into next year, I sure have know at least once, maybe twice a month, you could have evening meetings, so. You know, I mean, that, we have to work around, I mean, to me, I have no problem, you know, in Jeff's business, I would think, I should.
Well, I mean, just once a month, a regularly scheduled, once-a-month meeting, whatever that is gonna,
I think, you know, to me, I mean, you're young, so I don't know, but I mean, you can about tell when there's major issues, and that's the time that you need to be setting those evening meetings so that you can have some input. You gotta try to let them know the best you can, one-on-one, and then if you tell them something ain't true, then I expect them to hold my feet to the fire, I would say, so. And, so. Anyone else? Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
I'll call you maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of figuring out a time that we could set up that committee to set the agenda for the countywide summit and get some possible dates.
Sounds good.
Because we'll need to get a hold of Mr. Gardner, Mr. Pyle, and Mr. Henry, and I think we'll get 2 out of 3 of them done, not 2 out of 5.
Probably.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're not excused, I mean, you're welcome to stay, but, Joe, you been waiting? You got a PO or something? Well,
I'm trying to keep speed. Oh, you're almost 19 years, I never seen a meeting like that.
Another one?
Probably because there's no second job. We discuss every single thing that happened, day to day, within the paper.
Well, you know, you still around. I think you look at the higher place.
No. It's just, you know.
First of all,
The $31,000. Okay, well, here we go. Move. Okay, so you make it that $1. Okay.
I'm not sure how on this patch, we go ahead and do this and it's charged in
So you had that, you can live with it. Anyway, it's based on you know, when you
delve into that, there are caveats to every issue.
But I'm saying, it was bad policy to begin with, would be my assertion.
Nice to be that policy.
This is just one from my second, that's for a committee, I'm saying, we're taking out of the, deal with.
Everybody
Well, what I all, service that in, now, by you looking at this cost, that, So, and as far as getting weeds in that, I mean, you know, when you're talking about. They're gonna push those too much. The other thing, like, resolutions, you got, there's boots on the ground, say, research. You know, even going up $2,000 by the way, that 36 sounds like a super slow pop on the extra 5,000. You know, I mean, just like up here. You know, and like I said, you're dead. It's good work. You're doing this, I don't say.
I do. I guess the main thing I'm doing, and I am getting with the management so that we can compare what went out last year versus what went out this year, and trying to see what we're because as I found out through asking a lot of questions, that's not what happens. Yeah, I have to set up a meeting and meet with the people that we send together to. We will have that disparity, that information.
You only capture about 10 on your spreadsheet. On your residential, there's only one property that charges $132. I did see one property captured. 937 was San Francisco, 937 was Midland Swamp. For example, adjacent property to it, 941, big turd on the corner of 10 pages or whatever. You talk about surrounding county, GIS county, he's got one block over. That, well captured, you know, a big part of the rest of us, but then it goes to the question, because why are we subsidizing apartment houses? Where we're facing a dumpster site. If we are, the utility is actually providing trash.
Yeah, I'm gonna move from
We are providing a service for transferring your solid waste, and that cost shouldn't be exclusive of how efficient it is for the city of Madison as a collector. Because that one person ordering these single apartment, could potentially be putting up saying, trash. This is an argument there, frankly, for units, okay? Yourself and the other type. I was a farmer, so I've been in the house typically, they rotate a lot more. So, just to say that, because you live in an apartment, you're going to use less trash, it doesn't necessarily apply. You're going to be repurposing the house where regular homeowners are going to be having. You get the idea. So, that gets into that, you know, that by, you know, just kind of poo-pooing those arguments. Let's get into the broader discussion, let's figure versus $750 for David Webb next door.
My one question is, do the apartment dwellers, do they have a home that's property tax information, or would it be, how dwelling?
Well, the appraiser's office, as you look on there,
but they don't have individual people who would have to have.
Well, we're not assessing people, we're assessing landlords.
Right.
So we have a capture this property. Now the discussion becomes, again, based on the assumption that the statistical reality that there's 2.5 people per household, right? 2.5. All numbers, but 2.5 people. Average, that's going to be a 3-bedroom house. You wouldn't want to assess for, you know, 6-bedroom house, because usually there's not going to be 6 people in that house. There's a big house for it. So if you wanted to do on some kind of normal, whatever, and this is a big discussion, not a safe discussion, but there's, you know,
figure out what.
You know, you can make a full race for a three-bedroom up house. Subsidized rent for a two-bedroom house, even though the two and three-bedroom is so pretty close. So it'd be nice if it's about 2/3. The studio apartment usually is about 50%. I'm just trying to give you kind of a.
Right.
Something you wrap your head around as you.
I was.
Thank you.
Once we get through.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Are we done?
They might take the meeting.
These are two deals.
Yes.
But you, I think I covered it.
Or
Tom,
just
did you get that?
He gave it to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
you didn't have
Send him an email. You need to contact your insurance company and tell them the bid.
That said he was gonna take care of the insurance. I gave him a copy of that too. Yeah, I got both of them.
Because won't they pay them direct, or they'll pay us?
Right.
Well, let's hear, how do you go about paying?
Well, there was an accident where the handrail was run over by a car outside the courthouse. I'm sorry?
It stops the car from being empty.
Looks like Joe got a few bids, the lowest one was Huntley Construction for $1,882. I don't know that we budgeted someone running into the handrail. I mean, this is something that ought to be covered by liability insurance. It doesn't appear for driving a vehicle that did have liability insurance, so we'll pursue that. In the meantime, it's not going to be fixed.
Right, I don't think we're probably not obligated to do it, as long as the vendor we choose, we're probably not obligated to pay them. We tell them what the insurance is gonna do, they're paying.
Well, I don't know whether, my experience with insurance companies is that it either works immediately or it takes a year.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if they don't, we'll have to make arrangements to cover till they pay, right?
That's one thing.
But I mean, we ought to be given a reasonable amount of time. I mean, in other words, if they fix it and ask for the money tomorrow, we would have to necessarily pay it. We would have to see if the insurance answers and pay it. But, I mean, we're not talking that big amount.
$1,800, I don't think we can come up with that. But
Well,
Okay. Here's the.
And that was from Huntley Construction. Yes.
And they have another in there for purchase order from, West for $1,130.98. And I guess we need a motion to up the credit limit and.
Yeah, just requesting you to double the limit on my credit card for these purchases.
the health coverage for these incidents, so you make that motion.
Yeah.
And I will second that, no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
What was that for?
Well, just up his credit card,
For the appliances?
well, so he has enough that he
Okay.
can cover.
Okay.
For the appliances and
Because
furniture.
he's able to save a lot of money there, so we might need that savings.
Expenses of
Okay, the
purchases
second one
related
here
to the
is
new
on
building.
the east side of the courthouse, the handrail has come loose. And it busted, the top two posts have busted off. or it's Bill Loudon, and, you see there's a back page to it now. It's just slightly, it's the same, they put it on the same bid.
Oh, okay. So just one bid, $4,200 for the same project as this other one?
That would be for everything.
Oh.
The handrail itself is the bottom one.
So we already signed that 1,800, so really all we need to do is approve this one, right?
Right, and that will just repair that, before you sign it, that handrail is square. And ADA standard says that they're supposed to be round. So.
Well, can you take it right here?
Do you have to, if you have a handicap, if you have ADA?
The city doesn't have it right now, that they're the ADA, but my understanding is all handrails have to be a certain height and they have to be round.
And if it's going up for steps?
Especially if it's going to steps. But the other problem is, if we we have 3 handrails instead of just 1. So my recommendation for right now would be just consider it so it's safe, and anybody uses for it, then we have to replace the whole thing. But that's, I want to bring you aware of that, so a month from now, somebody sued us for that, because you understood that.
Can we be fined, ADA fined, for not having this?
That's a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know what the requirements are. I would think that if we're making a change to it, the part that we change, we ought to at least bring into compliance. Whether all 3 handrails would need to be replaced, that doesn't seem necessary, but the standard under the ADAA now is reasonable. So I would think that we ought to have a minimum fix the one that we know is not, the one that's broken. We ought to put it into compliance when we replace it.
So we should completely replace it other than just repair it. Because this is just for repairing, this is just put posts down the bottom where it's broke. That's it.
I guess I don't even.
This is a fraction of the cost, it would probably be around $3,000 to $4,000 to replace it.
Yeah, I didn't notice how long it's been you've got me in the habit of not going in that door.
No,
Maybe you want to get a bid, replace all 3 of them. Get that cost.
And I don't know about the ADA requirements on handrails or even if there are.
I don't know about that, I don't know how it is, so I just know that they're supposed to be round because we've got control over that. So, whether those qualify or not,
Where did we get in trouble?
when we've gotten moved up on them, they've always said round. There's a whole bunch of regulations on handrails. They gotta have returns at the end, they gotta be a certain roundness.
When were we ready?
We never have it, well, yes, we were, on this one coming down, when the lady tried to sue us. Whoever came here, wrote up the handrail on the north side, and some other things, that's your one we replaced them all.
I see. Okay. Well, I can have an answer for you on Monday.
So we just put this on hold and be okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Right. But the other one, you can go ahead and get started on that one.
And this here, I don't know what you want to do with it. This is part of the elevator project here.
Oh, just blinds for that one, replacing those blinds?
This is the 3 rooms along with the restroom. They're real tall, so it's pretty hard, pretty expensive. I can go to Lowe's, I can get them for about 30% less. But there are some restrictions there, they have to come down and measure, and you have to pay them for that whether you buy them or not.
Well, right here you've got the measurement.
What's that?
Right here you've got the measurement. You got like to have him measure?
I gave them those measurements, and they gave me a 30% less cost if we go to Lowe's. Then they'll have to send somebody down to measure, and that will be a cost above that, that's what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, if I give them those measurements and they're not right, then we own them. If I measure, we go with that.
So you're saying this bid comes,
But how many are you looking at? 3, 8, 11.
Correct. And those are aluminum blinds, 1 inch wide, all
Oh,
white.
but like they're $90 a piece, those are pretty, I mean, those are,
It says on what they are, please. 101, 95, and 50.
yeah, the bigger they are, of course, the more expensive.
And I called Sears, and the only way I can get them to there is order them online, they won't do anything here. I called, Lumberyard, Perkins, and they don't do anything like that. I don't know any place else in town who orders blinds. So, it's whatever you wanna do, if you wanna go to Lowe's, I can, solid bid on those, but they're, like I said, there's about 30% savings.
But we don't know what they're gonna charge us to come down here either.
Even after that, I think you would have about 30% savings for Lowe's, but then somebody has to go to the same store twice. Wants to place an order and wants to pick them up.
so they don't put them up,
No,
but basically that.
no, they'll be installed.
You will be installing them? No.
So what is Lowe's bid? They didn't give a bid?
They just gave you a price estimate because without an actual measurement, they wasn't going to give you an exact price. And it was about 30% less, but these measurements, than what they did.
Home Depot, just check Home Depot.
I called another one and I got to run around and it was Home Depot. And everybody got a price from it. I guess it just depends on what you want to do, right? If you want
Well,
to-
but you can't call, I mean, you said you had to make 2 trips up there.
Well, you have to go up once to get the order, I guess, place the order and charge them. And then you have to go back the second time to pick them up.
You can't order them over the phone and pay more when you pick them up.
Well, I think that you're gonna have to have them come down here and measure them, is the way I understand it. Otherwise, we would be responsible for them.
Yeah,
Measure.
that's what I just can't, I'm not quite understanding why we have to go up there twice. I mean, if you put the order in, they can come down and do the measure, we pay for it, and then once they're satisfied, then we go back up there and pick them up. So it's all
That sounds
one trip.
logical to me, but when I talked to the court clerk, she said she had to go up twice because she ordered some wooden blinds on one of the places for the court floor, and that's what she had to do.
It should go there twice.
Yes.
I think I guess I'd be for you to check and see if we have, if you want to go there twice, I think that, you know, if you're gonna say, still saying 30%. I would go ahead and do the low, of course, you haven't seen, have you actually haven't seen these though either, have you? I mean,
No, I'm just taking her standard blind on 3 seats.
What's in my office?
So what measurement are they afraid of? The width, or the length, or both?
Both. If they're not right, then if there are blinds, if we measure.
You know how to raise your blind, for blinds, don't you?
Well, I think so, but. but I
They scared you, they want to get another fee just to measure, but
Right.
man, I'd take, be for taking your measurements for them, and
I mean, there should be accurate measurements here, but, you know, they're saying that if we order them, if they order, by the way, I don't know if they will, but if they do, that they would be ours regardless. I mean, if you wanna go out of town and get them, I can wait and get that price and come back. That's what you're gonna do. 'Cause
what is the?
$973 for the.
$973 from Main Street Decorating,
Yes, for 11 blinds.
and what was Lowe's price?
They're about 30% less than that.
But there is of the fees that go on top of that for it to come down.
I think it's gonna come out to about 30% less is what we said.
Total, so
Yeah.
their actual price
Then we're gonna have to
is
add,
quite a bit cheaper, but then by the time you say they come down and make it, you're still 30% less.
I think so. And now, I don't know if we get sales tax off in St. Joe. So we gotta go back up 8%.
They would always buy local like that.
See, 30%
It's it's $200-some.
Right.
But then if you add another 8%, you know, and then a trip or two up there, like, I mean, it's, you know, you're getting down $125 difference, and that's only 10%, 10 to 12% difference in shopping local or
I
going.
buy local, buy local.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to,
No, I don't have the funds for that anymore, so I don't know.
you don't,
So whatever accounts you're gonna give them.
Mike will pay for them.
Okay.
this mic or that mic,
That's
or
his
that
Christmas.
mic stick.
No, you.
Well, we better look.
The other one will be reimbursed, but I don't have any funds for that either, so.
Just stand down on the street corner and see if you can get some money.
Well, it might work.
Well, you know, we don't care, we don't.
Sam, are you on here?
You need to be here and listen to this so they can see where all the excess funds go when you got people come in and don't have funds and you have to buy them.
There you go.
Yeah, we're just double taxing people. I still.
Collecting twice.
I know I'm simple and naive, but I still haven't figured out that, just because you're paying, I mean, our ad valorem taxes is based on 2012 valuations, but that's the revenue that we're gonna use on 2013, so any other assessed fee is the same thing. So just get,
And he's been on working municipal budget.
yeah,
Mike, you can't.
I guess, yeah, I know, well, I don't,
I'm with you, I can't figure out what it's gonna
Did they say go ahead with this? Did you say go ahead with this, or you gonna wait?
well, we gotta figure out where we're gonna take it, we need to direct you where to take it out at first.
Well, we know how much the rest of our elevator bills are gonna be.
Take that in my 2013 budget if you want, I'm okay with that.
John, you weren't there. I didn't hear you say that. Is the janitor back there or something like that? I think there was a janitor back there.
We don't need to be done before next year.
The treasurer has been complaining a lot because that room is so hot.
Hey, with it cold outside, I think you'd want some heat, 'cause it's not very warm in there, is it?
Well, for me, I don't use the rooms, but there has been some complaints about it, so.
Put some paper up in the windows and so. Ask her if she has any less paper.
Are we talking about a little room, a storage room, or are we talking
Yeah.
about?
The storage room they're using for semi-break room on the main floor, I assume. And they're saying it's real hot in there because of all the windows in the south southern. And then over at Block Courthouse, they've had left the windows open a couple of times, so.
Okay. I thought that was a storage room.
Yeah, well, they can't store it yet because they got the wrong locks on it, and they're supposed to have that fixed by Wednesday. The locks you can't lock unless you're on the inside.
The restroom upstairs on the second floor, when I've left, when it's dark, the lights are still on, is that?
They go off automatically, they're all automatic.
They do go off automatically?
Yes. I've driven by at night and they have
They
to.
haven't gone off?
Do those turn on if somebody walks in there?
Yeah, I think they're real long, but tell you here in a little bit.
You got
Don't
courthouse
lock up,
maintenance,
courthouse isn't locked in?
courthouse maintenance, every money left.
So, yeah, well, there's county maintenance.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, you had $1,000 for your capital last year, so that would.
It's gone.
It's gone, I know that, I just did, but.
Also, I gotta get tires on my truck. They're bald.
Okay, so that's gonna probably come out of,
Yes.
will that come out of commodities then?
I don't know where I'm at.
You're on commodities, Joe, you're at 2/3 of, you had 10,000 budget, you have, $3,500 left in commodities, but you've got tires to put on, so you're looking at probably $700.
Right.
You use 6 or 10, what will you put on?
What's that?
What ply do you put on?
It's just a half ton.
Yeah, so you use
Four.
because you're mostly in the city, okay?
Yes.
So that would be quite a bit. I do know the 10 commodities, they get in your pocket pretty good. Well, I mean, do you have any problems? If you want to come up, I mean, you're welcome to, I mean, this is the latest budget, and you're doing you got quite a bit of money in contractual services, but your commodities, you have, you're 66% you use, which is only 7,000 out of 24, so you've got 35. Now,
As long as if I go over budget, you guys remember it.
well, yeah, right, but can you, I mean,
I think I'll have about that left at the end of the year.
you're not outside the tires, you don't think, you're
I
not
think I'll have-
anticipating?
No, not anticipating. I think I would have that amount, but if something comes up between now and then.
Well, we'll have to get creative.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do that then. Paulie, do you want me to write on here?
Which one?
Well, under his commodities, maintenance commodities,
The blinds or this $1,800?
the blinds.
Oh.
I
You have a
got it here.
recommendation?
Yeah, he's got it
Okay.
here. Do you want me to write on here what to take it out of?
Yeah.
Also, on the third, can I tentatively schedule a meeting? When does it start?
How much is the cost on the?
$973
Ooh, 3 o'clock.
for 11 blinds.
You could, and
And it's local.
Tomorrow, for sure.
Okay. What's it on?
That's from Main Street Decorating.
You want to share something with us, or what?
Security, make sure you don't get shot.
Oh.
That's all I have.
Make sure I don't get shot.
You want, I
Just
don't do
bullying
my
on
greeting.
this and that here.
I spent 3 or 4 days really worked on it. Well, knowing how it's set, but I've kind of got past it now and figured out that we'll deal with it, it's not gonna be.
Numbers were approved, or lines were approved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All three things.
Huh?
All three things I had were approved.
So they didn't do anything on,
Or no,
Are you-
two things.
2 things. They didn't do the second.
Right, okay, can you pass it?
Well, you're gonna furnish some information on the list, because I have comments, questions. Good, good.
And that's in 3 different rooms?
Yes, it's on the,
Sorry for Mr. Wagner.
We're
Okay, we cancel Wednesday's
A
meeting.
storage room, restaurant, and what room?
It's
Pretty
a, right,
I think you ought to have one
Court
more guys to back up here. John will set in my place here. I'll deputize him to be a county commissioner.
Okay.
That's pretty patient.
Thank you.
I get ready to come back and get the job. So he was. He's good.
He's gonna be level headed.
Yeah, well, he is. I think he's glad now. But anyway, if it's okay with you, Commissioner, let the paper know that we will cancel Wednesday's meeting because of Jeff being gone and Tom having eye surgery. And I could be here for an hour, but I'd probably have to leave.
Where's Jeff?
He's at a training, his business, it's a week's training seminar.
Okay.
I don't know where it's at, but he just said he'd be gone, so.
Thank you. Come to our.
So let's do it. Pat, did we have about 10 minutes executive session, and I think we're basically done.
Okay.
For client attorney.
Sure.
Service.
Pull trash out on,
Grass property?
yeah.
I just got a report just now, so we'll go ahead.
I just gave you something, so. Yeah, that's not even, just barely look at it.
Okay. Okay, so we need, I move to go into.
Why don't you say not to exceed 20 minutes and we won't have any action when it's done, so.
Okay. Not to exceed 20 minutes. No, and there will be no, there'll definitely be no action.
Okay.
Definitely no.
So 20 minutes will be about.
Just a little before 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Right before the supper bell rings.
Tom, Mike, and, so who made the motion?
I made the motion, Tom, do you second?
Seconded.
Okay, Tom seconded.
Tom, Mike, and Pat, right?
All of that, yes.